Okay, D&D's in like 8 hours. I can watch some TV. Wow, he was his father? Who would have guessed? I guess I should probably prep for D&D now. Oh my god, I've only got an hour. I gotta get going. So here's the deal. One of the things that has really stood out to me in the new Dungeon Master's Guide is actually helping you be a DM. The 5e DMG is good, but it has very few sections that actually give you the tools on how to be a DM. But this new DMG is actually telling you how to run a session 0, how to session prep, how to do all the things, how to think about your characters, how to incorporate everything that you need for the D&D session to be a DM. Am I making sense? Am I rambling? Yes, a little bit. But what is incredibly helpful for me, and I'm guessing you too if you're watching this video, there is a section in the book that tells you how to prep for a D&D session if you only have 1 hour. Let's get into it. Nice. Focus on the story is step 1. Basically, the new DMG is saying to reread the introduction of the story to get the story, if you're running a pre-written, back in your head, so you're back into it, or if you're like me and running a homebrew world, think about the story that you've written and go over the main plot points that are gonna happen in your session. Palm tree. So for the beginning of my story, my players are going to start on a little island town in a tavern. Whoa. Has that ever been done before? Am I a trendsetter? So bullet point 1, island tavern. Next main plot point is the characters are going to encounter a dying sailor and get a treasure map. We're running a pirate campaign. The players at some point in the session are going to encounter pirates. What? This is definitely not just a beat for beat ripoff of Treasure Planet. So the main thing is I've got these story beats that I want to have in the session right here. So if and when my players do some crazy shenanigans, I have these main plot points that I want to have happen in the session. So when they do crazy things, I can try to steer it back to some semblance of the plot that I had laid out in my head. But don't railroad. This is a general outline. Okay, that was easy. Step 2. Identifying your encounters. The new DMG suggests that you categorize your encounters into definite, possible, and unlikely to save you the most time. So you can prep really hard on your definite encounters, have a bit of time on your possible, and maybe just think about your unlikely encounters. So let's talk about the encounters that I definitely want to have in this session. The pirates ambush, for sure. Sailor. Pretend that says sailor and not solar. I don't even know what that says. That's not legible at all. So these are the definite things that I want to have happen in this session. The possible things that can happen are any tavern activities. I can maybe plan out if the players don't want to fight the pirates and try to persuade them. I'm just gonna put parse to not have a combat, because that can happen too. I feel like some maybe unlikely stuff that might happen is one of my players could persuade one of the other tavern patrons to fight with them. They're just normal people, but who knows if they roll high enough, so hi. Tavern. This is like a little peek into my notes and how I write things. I would look back at this later, I'd be like, what the heck was I thinking? What am I talking about? What is this? But in the definite category, the fight with the pirates is a huge moment. It's a pretty low-level combat encounter, but I want to make it cinematic and have a lot of chances for storytelling and roleplay. It's also going to be set in a packed tavern, so I think it's also going to be really fun for them to try and navigate a bunch of people and like a bunch of NPCs. Let's move on. I said I was going to start using colors in this one, and I haven't used a single color. So, maps and materials, section 3. That's a map. It's a map. So the DMG tells you to focus on what's definitely going to happen. So I'm going to make sure I definitely have my maps and my minis and my stat blocks prepped for the pirate combat and any NPCs that they're going to run into in the tavern. So this is going to be a side tangent, but about a year ago I had a little bit of time on my hands and I decided to build my own tavern that I can reuse multiple times out of like cardboard and wood and other things that I could find. So I'll probably insert pictures here. So I'm gonna reuse that for my tavern because that's what I do every time. Yeah, okay, maybe everything I own for D&D is behind this chair, but you don't have to know that. It looks cool once it's all set up, I promise. Also for prepping maps and props, since this doesn't take that much more time, map that I just printed out from the internet. You have to find it. You can't let them have it. You know, let's move on because that was too much of a tangent. Number 4 Player motivations. I love how the DMG is actually reminding the DM that the game is about the players, not just about your world and what you create. It's about what the players do. And their motivations are what fuel their actions and what actually influence the game. One of my particular players loves investigating and loves getting loot and any kind of magic items. So I'm definitely going to make sure there's high investigation and perhaps some fun loot that I can use from the DM's guide table in the new Dungeon Master's Guide. And if you're one of my players in one of my campaigns, gosh darn it, you gotta love roleplay. Because that's just how it goes in my campaigns. I'm very roleplay heavy. So in this session, I'm gonna make sure there's many opportunities to have roleplay encounters and for the players to just RP amongst themselves or any NPCs or, for sure, the pirates, because who doesn't want to roleplay with some pirates? What's also cool about the new DMG is it tells you to weave multiple motivations into multiple encounters. So I can give my player who loves loot the motivation to want to fight these pirates because they see that the head pirate has a super cool glowing object coming from their pocket. Wink, wink. Number 5 and our final point is skim the encounters. The players are always going to do things that are unexpected, so in your unlikely category from before, just think about things that your players might do. If you know your players or even have like a general story in mind, you might know a little bit where their heads are at, but you can't plan for everything. So just skimming some of the unexpected encounters might be a good idea. Maybe one of my players might just do something weird and decide to, I don't know, jump out a window and jump into the ocean. Maybe I'll have a stat block for like a shark or something planned out, or just think about a stat block for a shark and maybe that might happen. Who knows? Your players are weird, they'll do weird things. That's D&D, baby. I think this guideline is incredibly helpful, especially for new DMs who might not have a set system yet on how they prep for sessions. It's really easy to follow these guidelines to make sure that you don't spend hours prepping something if you don't want to. And this is also super helpful for seasoned DMs because sometimes you just need those easy guidelines to just help you get through so you don't have to spend all your mental energy prepping and not have enough energy for the game. I think it's super helpful, especially for me, and especially for people who like to procrastinate. And that's definitely not me, that's totally not me. I don't procrastinate at all. I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give me a like and subscribe and turn on that post notification bell if you enjoyed this video and you want to see my face on a regular basis. Also, be sure to sign up for my Patreon. Links are down below. I post an extra RPG Reddit horror story video on there. So if you missed those and you want to see an extra video of mine, go check out my Patreon. I also post bloopers and I have some fun DMing tools on there as well that you can purchase if you want to. And if you want to see what I'm doing on a daily basis, go check out my social medias. Instagram, TikTok. I post stories on Instagram all the time, so if you want to see that, go check that out. I'd also like to thank all my patrons that are scrolling up the screen now. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for becoming Tavern patrons, and if you would like to become a Tavern patron, links are down below. Check that out. It really helps me continue to create content that hopefully you enjoy. Well, I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.